One reason the life feels dull or that it has no meaning is because you've unconsciously gotten very good at the skill of suppressing your emotions or becoming numb to life. Let me explain. Many men want to become stoic, or another way of saying that is they want to develop the ability to control their emotions. But on the journey of learning to become stoic, they accidentally confuse stoicism with expressionlessness. And this leads to a suppression of your emotions. You accidentally get good at a skill that you don't even want to get good at. Ask yourself, why would you even want to not feel your emotions and everything that life has to offer for you? You might say, well, there's only certain emotions that I don't want to feel. But the thing is if your default mode, the way that you interact with your emotions is suppression, it doesn't matter if it is joy or anger, the brain is going to call back on that default mode and suppress instead of dealing with the emotions in a different way. Now, I remember a time when something very exciting happened. I got a message from someone that I look up to where they were praising my work. I should have felt excited, even happy, but I felt nothing. There was just this emptiness in my chest. Like the compliment was given to me, but it was like water off of a duck's back. It just, nothing. There was no feeling. And this scared me because before, when something bad was happening, I had trained myself to stay calm, to stay composed. But along this process, I had also stopped feeling the emotion of joy. And I learned that I wasn't just suppressing the pain or not feeling the anger. I was suppressing all of my emotions. I wasn't learning stoicism. I was just learning how to numb myself to my emotions. This made me realize that I now needed to relearn how to feel my emotions again. Just like going to the gym to lift weights to build your muscle, the way that you interact with your emotions is how you build your character. But if there's no emotion, there is no character growth. You don't move anywhere in life. You actually get stuck because you're completely numb to anything that happens around you. A baby is overwhelmed by their emotions. A child is reactive to whatever is happening. A mature adult feels all of their emotions, but isn't controlled by their emotions. Mastery over your emotions is not suppression. It's a skillful transformation, meaning the more that you mature, the more that as you grow, you're able to transform and change your emotions. But it's not how most people think of forcing happiness when you're sad or forcing calmness when you're angry, because that just creates an internal conflict and you're no longer growing. You're just battling yourself, trying to force an emotion that isn't there yet. So I'm going to give you a 3-step process that will allow you to transform your emotions and grow your character and not get stuck in just suppression or bundling of your emotions deep within your unconscious mind. Step number 1 is to identify the emotion. This seems obvious, but most of the time we end up reacting to the emotion because we're not aware of what we're even reacting to or the emotion that's being evoked out of us. Now, as a side note, if you feel like you're someone that isn't feeling your emotions, like the emotion isn't even there, you have to relearn how to feel your emotions. And you do this by going inside yourself, closing your eyes and feeling what your emotional response to different circumstances is. For example, let's say I present to you a circumstance that would normally make you very excited, and you go inside and you don't feel that happiness. How does that make you feel? The fact that you're not feeling the happiness. Perhaps it evokes this feeling of sadness. That itself is an emotion. Don't suppress that emotion. Many times when you've dug this hole for yourself of not feeling and becoming numb, there are heavy emotions that are covering the lighter emotions like joy. You have to feel and allow that sadness to bubble up in order to get to that place where these different circumstances evoke that sense of joy or love for life again. Step number 2 is to observe the emotions without judgment and become familiar with yourself. This step is all about mapping your emotional state, understanding where you are, and finding out what your buttons are, the good and the bad. What makes you sad, what makes you angry, what makes you happy. It's all about understanding who you are, getting to know thyself. It's not placing a judgment on the fact that you get sad at a particular circumstance, because when you start to judge, you now go back into that habit of suppressing your emotions, not wanting to feel them. Just observe, feel them fully, but from an outside perspective of understanding that this is what makes me sad and this is what makes me happy. Step 3 is where we're going to now start changing our identities, changing how we react to different circumstances, changing our emotions without trying to force in a different emotion, causing that internal conflict. The way we do this is not by forcing emotion, but by changing our relationship to the circumstance. When you change the frame of how you see something, as a byproduct, you automatically change the emotions that you have towards that thing. Now, everybody's situation is going to be very different. There is one identity shift that if we change, will shift how we see every single situation. So instead of coming from the place of being expressionlessness or pushing emotions down, think of becoming whimsical where you don't take everything too seriously. You see life as this game. Every situation presented to you is like an opportunity for you to grow. You take every comment or every circumstance with a grain of salt. For example, let's say there's a family get together and there's one side of the family or a particular person that really gets under your skin. They know how to poke your nerves and they know exactly what to say to really get you upset. Instead of forcing a non-reactive behavior even when there is anger or pushing the anger down, try looking at that person in a different light, as if you're speaking to a child and the child is trying to explain to you rocket science and how you're going to build a rocket and fly into outer space. You entertain the idea, but you don't take it too seriously. I mean, learning rocket science from a child might actually be interesting, but you get the point. You're not taking their words super seriously. And this whimsical behavior of being more laid back, not suppression, not putting the emotions down, but changing the relationship you have to the situation automatically changes the emotions you have to the situation. And the big secret to all of this is to develop the habit of remembering what you already know. Because in the moment, it's easy to say that I will do this. But when faced with that emotion of anger, it's in those moments that you have to remember this information of changing how you see something, changing the frames, the lenses that you have in front of your eyes of how you see that situation or that person. That is where the character growth happens. These are concepts, but they don't help you unless you earn this knowledge through putting in the action, through putting in the reps to actually integrate this into your character. And now this brings up a very powerful, important insight that if we're able to change our relationship to things and that changes our emotions, and our emotions dictate what our wants are, then if you can learn how to feel and influence your emotional state, you can actually change what you want out of life. So in this next video, I'm going to show you how to train your brain to make the hard things feel easy so that you can break bad habits and achieve your life goals.